Okay, welcome back. We're kind of finished doing the bullet list and having to figure out how far to move things back and forth. And the next thing we're going to talk about is inserting a photo. Now, I will tell you, this is fraught with peril. This definitely shows the novice. This is the rookie mistake area in doing documents. A lot of people can handle this part we just talked about with a breeze, but when they come to doing photographs, they absolutely do it wrong. Okay, so I'm just going to hit the return a couple times to get me a blank spot here on my document to play with. Okay, now I want to insert a photograph right there where that cursor is. So, there isn't anything up here that says photograph, is there? I mean, there's view, review, mailing, references. Ooh, but I do have something called insert. And I am inserting a document. I mean, a photograph. So let's do that. Let's click on insert. Doink. And so I can insert all sorts of stuff. A cover page, a blank page, a table. Woohoo, pictures. That's what I want. I want pictures. So I'm just going to click this guy. And what it's going to do is it's going to say, show me a list of photos that you can do. So I'm just going to grab one off of my machine here. And I'm going to insert it. And I go, okay, that's pretty cool. I have a picture of me nursing a kitten. Yay! Okay. Now, what I'm going to do right off the bat is I'm just going to save this document, okay? This sounds a little strange, but just bear with me for a minute. So to save the document, I'm going to hit the little save button way over here in the corner. Hit save. And it's going to ask me, what would you like to call this guy? And you remember how it tries to pick a title for the document? It kind of looks at your document and figures it out. It kind of saw that heading across the top and figured out that's what that was. Cool. I'll just let it do that. Alright, I'm just going to minimize this to kind of get it out of the way for just a second. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the plain old Windows Explorer. I want to go to my documents part and find that document. And the reason is I want to know how big this document is. Well, I just hover over it, right, and it says it's 3.05 megabytes. And that may not mean too much to you, but what that really means is that's big. That's a big document. And the reason why it's big is because it's got a big gargantuan photograph in it. Okay, so cool. It's 3.05. Remember that number. Okay, I'm going to go back to here, and I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to shrink the size of this image to half that size. So now I will tell you, if I want to size this guy, you just move the cursor onto one of these little squares, and if I hover over a square here, it'll allow me to shrink it this way. But that looks dumb because, like, geez, I've messed up the aspect ratio. I don't want to do that. Once again, that's kind of a rookie mistake. So I'm going to do undo. Likewise, if I grab this guy over here and scrunch it, well then I get nice and skinny. Ooh, maybe I could handle nice and skinny. So what I want to do is I want to grab it by the corner. Now, to tell you the truth, since I put it over here in the upper left-hand corner, that's where I put it, then I really should grab it at the lower right-hand corner. Okay? Now when I drag this guy, he automatically is going to scale without me getting distorted here. So I'm going to try to line this thing up to be exactly half the size. Okay, cool. So now it's half the size. I'm going to hit save one more time. And I'm going to do minimize, and I'm going to go back to my document and see how big it is now. It's 8:11. Okay, it's gotten considerably smaller. Okay? The idea is that when you resize a document, it's resize a photograph. There's two things going on here. One is the original document is still being held, and then it's just resizing it and making it. But let's say, for example, I want this guy to be really, really tiny. And this is all I need to be able to see in my document. Well, I can compress this image and make it smaller. It'll look identical to the way it is now. It'll look the same, and yet it'll be physically smaller. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Notice that we have a brand new toolbar. Now, the normal toolbars don't have colors, well, with the exception of this guy, which is called the Backstage. The blue one here called Backstage. I have no idea why it's called that, but who cares? So whenever you have a new one, it shows up in a different color. And I guess it's just to draw your attention to, hey, there's something new here, because as soon as you move past this image, that whole tab goes away. Well, one of them here is this compress guy. Okay, now you may look at that as saying, oh, well, that's corrections. Well, no, it's actually compress. And so I'm going to hit the compress, and it's going to come up and say, do you want me to apply this to just this one photograph, or perhaps all the photographs in the entire document? Well, I only got one. And let's say I'm going to be doing this, viewing this on a screen. So I'm just going to pick that guy right there. So I get to pick what the target output. Is the target going to be a printer? Is it going to be a screen? Okay. So I'm just going to hit OK. And I'm going to hit save one more time. And I'm going to minimize this guy. And I'm going to go back to Mary Had a Little Lamb. And it's now 388 kilobytes. So we started out at 3,050 kilobytes. We got down to 811. And now we're at 288. So this is one of the things you basically just have to remember to do. When you're grabbing a photograph and dragging it into a document, or going to insert photograph, finding it, putting it in there, you're not done. You've got an extra step. And the extra step is to size it the way you want it, crop it the way you want it, perhaps tweak it, for brightness and things of that nature. And then when all that's done, you hit compress. And compress is going to shrink it down so that when you email this to someone, it won't clog up their email with these massive documents. Okay? That's a rookie mistake, so don't be a rookie. So, we've inserted a photograph. Now, photographs have a cool feature. I can do a right click on a photograph, okay? And it has all these same things as we had before. Remember, this is that little menu, and of course I got paste and all those kind of weird things. Well, there's some extra stuff, and one of them down here is called Insert Caption. Now, it's thinking this is a technical document. Technical documents usually have like Figure 1, Figure 2. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this, and it's automatically put in Figure 1 for me, and of course it'll keep track of them. So if I do another one, it'll be Figure 2, right? And so I'm just going to hit dash and then just have a description of some sort that says photo of me and Annie. Okay, something. And hit the button, and that appears down here under the photograph. It's a slightly different font and a few other little different colors, but that's okay. We'll leave that part alone for the time being. And it's always good form, unless the photograph or graphic is completely decorated like a company logo or something. You typically need to have some sort of a caption to explain what it is. So don't just throw a photograph out there and have me figure out what the heck it is. You're supposed to tell me what it is in one of those little captions. Okay, so we've inserted a photograph. Now I'm going to go. I want that menu, that extra menu. See, we lost the little pink guy. So basically, to make the pink guy come back, all I have to do is just click on the photograph. And then I can go in here and do all sorts of fancy stuff. I mean, I can go in and put a border around the outside edge. Okay, I put a red border. That kind of stuff. I mean, just go nuts here, guys. You can go in and make it a little sharper, a little lighter. I kind of sort of like that one. You kind of go through it, just tweak it and have some fun with it. Or you can also do some funky things. I mean, when you get to artistic effects, some of this stuff is just crazy, okay? But hey, go in there, have some fun. All right, so this is all how to get a document. Now, what if I really, really, really didn't want it on hugging the left margin here? Can I just grab this guy and move him? So I have a little beam here, so I can just... I can't move him. He's stuck. What's going on? How come he's stuck? Well, the answer is this thing is being treated just like it was a word in a line of text. And so they have these little things here for how to position it and where is the text in reference to the document. So for example, if I was to go here and start typing some text, hello there. Now see what it is, put the text way down at the bottom, which may be exactly what you want. But let's say, for example, I really wanted the text to be all the way up at the top. I want it to be in line. So there's a thing here where I can go and tell how I want the text to wrap. And so in line with the text, square, and so it moves it up, tight, which means really, really tight. Or you can have it where it actually goes through, where it on top of each other, which looks ridiculous. There's all sorts of other things. And so I'm going to put it at, I guess I'll just leave it the way it is. That's cool enough. So there's that. And the position, right now, it's in line with the text. Now I could do it like this, where I tell it that I want it with somewhere in the position with the wrapping of the text. Now this is kind of weird, because if I click this, that means where it is on the page, physically where it is on the page. I'm going to go ahead and click this, but you're going to see what I'm talking about. Well, see how it messed up my bullet list? See, this is, now I can grab this guy and I can move him down, okay? But I can't, see, now I can kind of move him exactly where I want him. But however, if I put him someplace weird, well then weird things happen, right? That kind of makes sense. Weird things happen if you do weird things. It appeared right, now it's smack dab in the middle of the caption. Well, that's kind of dumb. So using this technique, you basically have to kind of be careful. You have to put things where you want them and then kind of be careful to make things wrap the way they want. So kind of play with this position options and play with this wrap text option and kind of get familiar with those guys. Okay. All right, let's say that you wanted this picture to be a precise printed size. In other words, none of this drag it until it looks right, but I want it to be precisely 2.5 inches or something like that. So it looks like this guy is almost 3 inches. So let's say I want this guy to be exactly 3 inches wide. Now typically what you would do is if you knew the aspect ratio, you would only give it one dimension wide. I mean, for example, I would only say 3.5 inches wide, or I would never tell it wide and high, because if I did that, then the aspect ratio messed up. Look over here in the corner. There's the 3. You mean I could just go here and do that and make it exactly 3 inches wide? Isn't that pretty cool? All I have to do is just click on this guy. Another way to do it is to go in here and click, and you can get to the same thing, this size and position. I really think that this context menu here, I mean, here I can go in here and do some cool stuff. I can do some cropping. I can rotate the document, flip it around. For example, let's flip it so it's backwards. Cool? Anyway, lots and lots of cool stuff in here. Okay. Now, let's say that I'm working on a part of the document, and my eyes aren't all that great, and I really kind of need to zoom in a little bit and see a bit more. So one of the things you can do, I'm going to go back to View. One of the options is I want to be able to see the entire document. I want to be able to see the margins at the top and the bottom. Now this is going to make the text tiny, but I want to know how far, for example, how far is this photo from the bottom of the document? I can't tell by looking at this. But if I click on this guy called One Page, it's going to show me what it's going to look like. Now, okay, I know this is turned into an eye chart, but that's okay, because now I can kind of eyeball it and go, yeah. Or I might look at it and go, no, I need to move that over or move that up or something of that nature. So this is kind of cool. And the other way you can do it is there is a zoom bar down here in the bottom where I can actually zoom into the document however tight I want. I can go in there and get really, really tight and just keep zooming in and zooming in and zooming in until I can get precisely what I want. Cool? Okay, this is a good place to stop for the 15-minute mark. We'll pick this thing up again in just a few.